Hello and good morning. We're back at an undisclosed location and we're carrying on making our steam engine gears. This is what we're making. So we're all set up in the slaughter. I'm going to go over what it is we're doing and show you how we do it. Let's get on. So a lot of you might have watched our last videos on cutting the gear teeth. We've done that on the Sunderland number 19 gear planer, which is over here. We've now moved on to the Roseburg slaughter, and this is going to slot the splines we need to put this back on our engine. So these gears, for those that are new, they're for our Wallace & Stevens restoration. We're restoring an 8 nominal horsepower traction engine, and this is just another piece of the puzzle. We need to get this slotted, get it back on the engine, and test fit it. So I'm going to bring you in, show you what it is we've done. So I was up here the other night and I've already done a couple of these splines, as you can see. We've already got this is our blank, this is our gear, this is the slow speed gear off the engine. This has been set up on a set of parallels. We've then got the idea this part has been clocked in with this table on this shaper. So all we've been doing is we've got all the strokes set, we've got the clapper box set, we've got the tool lifter set, and we are basically roughing these out at the minute. This isn't to width, this is undersize. This is the sort of thing we're trying to replicate. So this is what we made up a long time ago as a gauge to fit on the splines when we done the splines of the engine. So as you can see, I've got 4 splines in there now. We need to indicate this table again and put another one in. So I'm going to wind off the feed, put that down in the part, and we're going to feed out as soon as we're finished with that one. That one's to depth. And then as for clocking the part, so to index this part round, all we need to do is lift out the dog, and then we can rotate the table. As you can see, there's increments on the table. We're doing every 60 degrees. So that was 120, so every 60 degrees, so we're up to 180. Yeah, we've already done that one. So let's go next one. 240. And we'll just drop that dog in. And we should be set now. Let's take another cut. So once we get touched off, as you can see down here on the table, there's two magnetic backed indicators, and this one's been zeroed, so that's basically going to tell it. So that one's basically going to let us know when we need to stop feeding in, and we should be to full depth. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Let's start her up and get her slot in. Just like that with the depth. Just let that take a couple of spring passes. No tie at all. That's one roughed in. Right, let's go again. Right, so with them all roughed in now, what we need to do is we need to bring them to width. So we're going to be using the handle down here to bring the table one way, and we're going to widen that slot out to match what we've got on the end of the steam engine crank. So we got another mag base. Another mag base indicator on the table for this travel, X or Y, Z. So we got another mag base for this travel, and we're going to feed out a certain amount, just widen that slot out until we get what we need. So let's do that. So the difference is 250 thou. So we're going to step over 125 each way, and then we'll check that with some slip gauges, make sure we got that right. Then we can go all the way round and basically widen them all at the same time. So we got a 0. We need to come over 3.15 mil. So let's get that. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 5. Right, so I just took a nibble of that one. I'm going to offset it. We're going to do that again, and then we're going to measure our slot to see if we got that correct. So we need to go the other way now. That's going in. That one wants, I'll think about this, bring that in. Then we want to go that way. 1, 2. Right, so that's our 0. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 5. Then take a chomp out there. Right, so it's been a couple of days, got our gear. I've been slowly working on, after doing our slotting, I've been slowly working on getting this fit to the crank. We're about halfway on so far. This crank's all over the place where it's been worn over the years. There's highs, lows, spots. The splines aren't perfect. So what we've been doing is we've been bluing this gear up, banging it on. I've been then taking so we've been bumping it onto the crank, we've been taking this big old puller, pulling it back off, seeing where the blue spots are, and basically just fettling that down. To give us a nice fit, we want a nice sliding fit with no rattle or play on this gear. I decided to do it this way as most of the wear is in the middle of this crank. This end where there's no gears running on it over the years was larger. Then we had a low spot in the middle, and then we've got a low spot on the top here where the gear wasn't running either. So what I've taken to do is take the high spots down so that when it does get onto where it's going to be, it's not going to be a loose, sloppy fit. Basically, we're just doing it the hard way. As you can see, that's fitting on there nice. There's very, very, very minimal play, but we are coming up to a hard spot there. Well, if you compare that to the other one, the original, here's the original. See, that's what we're trying to avoid. Obviously that would work, but it's not what we're looking for. So you will notice on the gear there's a centre punch, on the cranks there's a centre punch. It will only go on one location. If you try to rotate it, she's just going to get a bit stiff. So we're slowly hand fitting this gear to the end of this crank so we can do away with any wobble and any rattle, basically. I think if we can get this one to fit on nice when we come to do the bigger gear, the high speed gear, it should be a lot simpler and quicker process. We're basically using this gear as a gauge at this point, just bluing it up, and then bumping it on and bumping it back off. It's a very time consuming process, but if you want it fit in the way we want it, that's just the way you got to go. So I have already checked the mesh. We get that bumped on as far as it'll go. We can bring our large gear out, and with our lumping hammer we can just knock that on. See, that's now meshed, and we got just a small amount of backlash. I'll go round and spin the crank, we can watch it all go round. Right, so with that, I think you can see that we're going to have some nice quiet running gears. After all that work we've done, she's going to be alright. So that's all I've got time for this week. I'm going to carry on getting this gear blued and fitted, but I'm not going to film most of that. So next week, we get this backing plate put on, get our final counterboard done, and then this one should be in the bag. So come along next week and we get all that going. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.